African Americans aged 35 and older were more likely to be married than white Americans from 1890 until sometime around the 1960s. Not only did we swap places during the 60s, but in the 1980s, the number of never married African Americans began a staggering climb from about 10% to more than 25%. By 2010, and as of 2020, it has climbed to a whopping 50%. So how do Black Americans reverse course and start heading in the right direction? Well, I've got 4 controversial ways to improve the Black marriage rate. Some you probably won't like, but I'll tell you one thing. If you got a Black man or woman you love, you better listen anyway.
Brim low on my fitted, dreams has always been vivid. I'm just trying to go get it, catch me right around and I'm ignorant, I'm just rolling.
My first controversial take is men need to start setting boundaries for the woman they care about. You want to date my sister or my daughter? What are your intentions? Because you're not about to waste all her good years, and it's not about scaring him. Okay, maybe a little, but it's also about showing him that your sister is valuable and deserves respect, especially if she was raised right. So make him prove he's serious. Don't let him think he can string her along forever. And some of you may be thinking, it sounds like I want to put a cape on, and that's because I do. You should be proud to wear that cape because you're protecting yours. I'm not telling you to protect some stranger out in the street, but that's your family. And if you ain't gonna ride for your family, no one else is.
When a girl is dating a guy for 6 years, the family is asking her, why he ain't married you yet? But nobody's asking that boy, hey, why you ain't married her yet? What's your problem? Why the men in the family haven't come to him and say, hey man, what's your issue? You gonna marry her or not? Or you gonna make her a whore for 6, 7, 8 years? Where the daddies at? Where the big brothers at? That step up to these men and say, you done had a kid with her? Y'all live together? Why won't you marry my sister, my cousin? What is up with you, man? So you just gonna whore around on her like that? You gonna sleep with her but not actually make it official? You're not gonna actually cover her for real? You gonna fake cover her? Because these men are not covering anybody. That's a responsible grown man thing, to be a husband and a father and take care of your family in your house. That's grown man business. And we don't have enough men deciding to step into grown man business and say, I can cover a wife and I can cover children and I can take care of them. Men are running from that. They don't want the responsibility of that.
With that said, my first controversial take is men need to make men marry their daughters and sisters. But this alone will not be enough to raise the marriage rate, so we need to talk about something even more controversial. And the ladies aren't gonna like this, but we gotta talk about keeping those legs closed. Listen, ladies wanna call themselves the table, but it's giving IKEA furniture at best. You let everyone sit at this table, but you want a man to think you're marriage material. Here's the cold hard truth from a man who's been successful dating a lot of women before he got married. Listen, the longer you make him wait, the more valuable you become. Now, that doesn't guarantee he'll marry you simply because you made him wait, but I'd say the odds of him looking at you as a long-term option improves dramatically.
In the 1970s, only 2% of women had more than 10 sexual partners. Then the sexual revolution took off and those numbers just continued to increase. Fast forward to the 2010s, and 18% of women now have a body count of more than 10. And guys, the kicker is, this survey, it came out in 2016, it only went up to 2013. Imagine what these numbers are now.
So women need to slow down.
Oh, slow down, hold on there.
Oh, and this only applies to younger women who just started dating. We need to teach our sisters and daughters this so they don't make the same mistakes we made.
But by 2030, it's predicted that 45% of women will be unmarried and childless. And why do you think that is? Well, it's because we've been told that, men are trash and that our career is the only thing that matters and that marriage and children will inhibit that, which is unnatural. That is biologically unnatural for women. Like, look at this chart from the Wall Street Journal about values in America. This is scary. Percent of people who say these values are very important to them. Patriotism gone down, religion gone down. Having children, like the whole chart is important, but let's look at that quadrant. Having children it is a straight line down. Like, no wonder women are sleeping around at these rates. No wonder they're not getting married. They don't value it. They don't care. We've been lied to about this.
And unfortunately, the women of this generation aren't going to unlearn this. It's my hopes that they learn from their mistakes and teach the next generation that sleeping around isn't it. Because by the time you get to be my age, it's too late. If you've already been in the streets, but you try to stop having sex now, most men see through it. And playing this game makes you look immature. Most men, if they've had enough experience, can tell by how a woman flirts if she's easy or not. And you can't hide it. No matter how hard you try, we can tell by how fast you get comfortable with us that you're DTF. Down the fuck. And based on that, we come to the conclusion that you're easy, even though you said you're celibate. We know it's just a game, and we'll play the game until we get what we want. And I hear ladies talking about self-care, but how does sleeping around with multiple men affect your self-care? Cause you getting yeast infections at best, which is the least of your worries, because I know y'all don't use condoms, and I see ladies proudly admit it on Facebook. When I was in them streets, that post-nut clarity never felt good. And I'm a guy, but most men will either never experience that, and the few who will never admit it. But sleeping with tons of women who you don't care about, and they probably don't care about you, is lonely. I can't imagine how the ladies feel, because you're looking for love, and then he nuts.
I beg your pardon?
You don't even get to finish unless you were messing with a real one like me.
Nigga, please.
And if you think I'm making this up, well, roll the clip.
Okay, but this one is something that is going to be controversial with people. You have recently learned that women may have accidentally helped to create player culture with their choices. Tell us about this, because that sounds like victim blaming.
No, it's not victim blaming, but it's understanding the factors that led to where we are now. So, under patriarchy, women, of course, had to either keep their bodies until marriage or rent it by the hour, if you will. Prostitution's gone way down, by the way. And so once patriarchy started to fall apart and women had their own economic freedom, they started to enjoy the pleasures of their bodies. Why not?
Yes.
But they put sex out into the culture in high supply. What this did is lower ambition in men, because they didn't have to work so hard to get the attention of a woman anymore. And as a result, women are complaining because, we have a fertility window that men don't have, and women are complaining they can't get a guy to commit on time. And it's like, well, you're spoiling him with free sex. Why should he commit?
I don't know about that.
So body counts are rising, marriage rates are falling, and the women on antidepressants have doubled since the 1970s. No one's buying a cow when you can drink the milk for free. So if you want to increase the marriage rate, stop giving out free samples like it's Costco on Saturday.
Stop it. Get some help.
And y'all still here. Great, because I put my most controversial thoughts at the end. And if you hate keeping your legs close, I promise you'll hate this twice as much. Because it's okay to have high standards, but most men and women have high standards but aren't high value in the eyes of the opposite sex, in the dating market. In the dating market.
Men don't care about women's money. We don't care about women's competence. We don't care about women's height. We don't care about all the things that you care about in a man. Attraction isn't symmetrical, it's asymmetrical. You became the man that you want, so all these other guys that you're meeting, they don't qualify for you. But the only guy that did meet your standards, guess what? You didn't qualify for him. I'm looking at you and I'm saying, you know what? You could hit the gym.
Just to lose weight. I don't want a man who's only going to judge me based on my size.
We don't want a woman that's only gonna base us based off our height. I'm 6'4", he's 5'8". But you said that he's disqualified because he's 5'8".
I didn't judge his character.
But you judge his height and he doesn't qualify for you. The same way he doesn't qualify for you, with your figure, a lot of guys you won't qualify for.
Give me a second. He's just...
I was never speaking down on you. I was speaking to the queen in you. The man, he has a fool in him, but he also has a king in him. And that woman should always speak to the king in him. A woman has a fool in her, but she also has a queen in her. Me speaking to the fool in her would have been, you just as good as you are. Those guys are the problem. But I spoke to the queen in her and I said, listen, you could do much better than where you are at now.
Example. And I hear men say they don't care what a woman makes, but I do. But I will admit that a woman's attraction trumps what they do for a living any day.
Looks ain't the only thing, but they the first thing. I'm just gonna keep it real with y'all. The type of man y'all want, honey, he don't care if you had the personality of Mother Teresa. That nigga would not care if you had the personality of baby black Jesus himself. It start with the looks. It's the same with a man money. We don't care how good a man personality is. If you homeless, ain't got no car, we finna starve with you. We don't care. Attractive women could not possibly care less about what no homeless man personality is. I would not give a damn.
And if you aren't as attractive, you will have to most likely date down. If you're a high-earning woman looking for a high-earning man, chances are, if you're not attractive, he doesn't see you. Just like you don't see the guy that's 5'5". God damn! So if you want to be married, you will either have to get in the gym and raise your sexual market value or lower your dating standards. And I know, before you lower your dating standards, you'd rather die alone.
Then you're gonna die alone. How about that?
You don't want to date a man that makes less than you. You'd rather do 100% of the work than go 50-50. And I'm gonna be honest with you, that only sounds smart to dumb people. You paying 100% of the bills, but you living in a low-income area, or you can split the bills with me and we can live in one of the wealthiest areas in New York. The women in my neighborhood, of all races, they work, and so will you. And before you think I'm letting the fellas off the hook, if you're going 50-50 with a woman, that is not traditional. You need to be helping around the house, taking care of the kids, and splitting everything 50-50, not just the bills. Now, disclaimer, I'm gonna show you this next clip, and I know most of you aren't gonna like her delivery. Honestly, I didn't like her delivery, but we always tell women not to focus on the delivery, so don't be a hypocrite. Roll the clip.
Guess wasn't 50-50. The dishes wasn't 50-50. The laundry wasn't 50-50. The cleaning wasn't 50-50. And that's an everyday motherfucking job. I come home and they got food on the table, got clothes on the bed, got shit everywhere. Like literally. And I'm a clean person. If you've been to my house, I'm organized and clean. So every day I'm exhausted. I'm coming home, I'm cleaning my house. And yes, I do that anyways. But when it's just you, it's just you. When you are cleaning up for a man and his children and other people, it is a whole full-time job and you don't get time for yourself. And that's why women get burnt out, period. And you're no longer happy in your relationship because you're coming home and a man is sitting on the couch because he's tired from work and you're making sure you're catering to him. And let me tell you guys all something. I have done that. And I'm not saying that I will never do it, but I'm letting you know that it feels very draining. And I'm not saying I won't do it, but when I'm going 50-50 on you,
I take pride in doing it.
So what?
I don't give a fuck. I think it's
so what?
Okay.
So what?
Cool.
So what? So what? So what?
I don't understand. Where is the value in that? Where is the value in that?
Well,
why am I going home and going 50-50 with you and doing all 50 and I'm doing all of the
why does one have anything
First
to
of
do
all,
with
I
the
think
other?
she has a valid point.
The brother saying so what is crazy to me. And I couldn't find the full clip, but to me, if you're not going 50-50 on everything, you're not pulling your weight. If you pay all the bills and your wife sits at home and does nothing all day but shop and get her nails done, she's not pulling her weight. And I'm not an advocate of men going out and getting multiple jobs like they did back in the day, because you need to be there for your kids. You need to spend quality time with your family. But you also need to make a decision. You either get a second job and pay all the bills, or you help around the house, spend more time with your family, and go 50-50. And ladies, if you're successful, you need to be okay with dating a man that makes less money than you.
It's important to know that this is the research of Joseph Henrich at Harvard University. And basically, as an evolutionary biologist, he's seeing that what we're seeing is an oversupply of successful women. More women are getting college educated and making more money. I teach on a college campus. We see the feminization of college campuses. The problem is women don't like to date down. So as a result, they're all chasing this small group of alphas and leaving the rest of the good guys out.
And because you've based your dating decisions on how much a man makes, you've shrunk your dating pool. Nowadays, everyone puts too high of a value on money. And I can't speak for everyone, but I would rather be happily married driving a Honda than be single, lonely, and miserable driving a Rolls Royce any day. But that's just me. And the last one, stop having kids before you get married. And this one, I'm only speaking to the woman on because it affects you the most. I believe it takes 2 to have a kid, but the mom is usually the one left raising the kid if it doesn't work out. And I don't understand how the bar for having a kid is lower than the bar for getting married. Y'all know, marriages don't have to be forever. They're supposed to be, but divorce is a thing. But a kid is for life. You can hate your baby father, never want to speak to him, and still have to raise that kid that looks just like him. But if you married him first, at least we can say you guys put thought into the decision. And sometimes things don't work out. But if you're not married, did you really think this one through? And I know accidents happen because, you don't use condoms. Dirty.
Oh, no, he didn't.
But if you're planning a family, why not build it on a solid foundation? You want to make sure that kid gets the best opportunities to succeed in life. Make sure you create the family structure before you create the family. And if you're thinking about one day becoming a father, or you already are, check out the 5 strategies to be a better father. I can guarantee you'll learn something from this video that you haven't heard before.